Okay, so friends, this will be a small class on what we will do or what we generally should do in advanced classes which are going to commence very soon. So you know that advanced political science batch will comprise 40 classes 2 hours each. So it will be advanced in genuine sense because not only it will give you the revision, but it also will make interlinkages and advancement in the knowledge which you have. To demonstrate that, I have taken a small theme so that you know, but still we can discuss for the advance. That is the radical feminism. You know, so all of us are very much familiar, and we may feel very confident about radical feminism. So, what we will do or what we should do very clearly in a radical feminism, and that's what with all the topics we will do in advanced batch of political science. Now, let's come back directly to radical feminism, right? So, when we start radical feminism and studies, then first thing should be there in the mind that with the Second World War, there was a complete disenchantment with the liberal theme of gender justice, because less about the suffragist movement of the liberal feminists, right from the days of J.S. Mill and Seneca Fall conventional feminists in US and England. The main reason for the women's suffrage that was achieved was the First World War. So another change in the conditions of women came in the Second World War. But there was no such ideological change about the conditions of women or the image of women. So therefore, the liberal feminism, which is part and parcel of any way egalitarian or equal liberalism, right from the days of John Locke, was no more supposed to be a satisfactory version of explanation of the gender discrimination. And this was a kind of a complete disenchantment with the liberal ways to determine women issues. Uh, a more revolutionary wage emerged in 1960s and 70s. So when Simone de Beauvoir said that women are not born but they are made, what she was actually highlighting in more vehement way that it is the society which creates gender according to the biological sex. So once you bring a specific social role because you belong to male or female sex, then it becomes gender. So radical feminism starts with the explanation of the gender identity in political theory in society. This was not the case with liberal feminism. Liberal feminism never analyzed a role of society in this distinction of male versus female in their social role. But here, how the society creates women, that became the primary agenda. And then the actual beginning of the radical feminism was done by Kate Millett in her book, when say, The Feminine Mystique, and she said very clearly that the biggest conspiracy of the society is actually creating a mystery around the women's role given to them within family. Like women is happiest when she becomes mother. Women is happiest when she takes care of the family. Motherhood is the biggest achievement of the woman. All these kinds of identity statements created in society, as Kate Millett will say, it's totally creating a feminine mystique. Mystique means rahasya, which creates a hidden and the best happiness of women who live within the family. Then came the Susan Brown Miller, and Susan Brown Miller said that actually family does two things. Number one, that it establishes patriarchy. Number two, it establishes the coercive domination of males over females through ideology of rape. So Susan Brown Miller says very clearly that the rape is something which is a tool devised by males to control the women, because rape is something which no woman will ever like to be done to her, and the men use this against those women who, according to them, is not fitting into the patriarchal role for that male, and hence the complete violation of dignity and body through force over a female is called ideology of rape, which is the necessary element for patriarchy to control the women. Germaine Greer, I mean, another radical feminist, she will say very clearly that it is about the repressed sexuality. That's how the patriarchy survives. Repressed sexuality means that how a woman should treat her sexual orientation and feelings, that is the primary focus area of control in the patriarchy. So women never realize what they actually want and have in their life. And this is why it is there. So when radical feminism was becoming popular in 1960s and 70s, the key theme emerged from radical feminism is patriarchy. They said that not through any kind of reform, not through any kind of social legal engineering, but it is only through a radical revolution against patriarchy that the gender justice can be expected to be happening in society. In society. So with this, radical feminist demanded a solution for gender injustice in terms of what? A very radical solution rather than a possible solution or practical solution. And the radical feminist solution is very simple: abolish the patriarchy through abolishing the family, because only when you abolish the family, the root cause of patriarchy will be abolished, that is represented in domestic division of labor between male and female. They supported open sex, drugs, no family, no marriage. All these things became synonymous with the radical feminism. It was further associated with new social movement, pop and other rock culture emerging in US. It was associated with the Vietnam War protest movements. It was associated with the rising black consciousness in one sense. So the radical feminism was completely out of the sync with the practicality. Now, if we want to understand the radical feminism for the very clear conceptual knowledge, then you should also understand the implications of the radical feminism on overall feminist movement. So, when radical feminism became popular, there is no doubt that their main slogan, "Personal is Political," became the chief representative of the feminism overall. But radical feminism, though, is the main force behind the ideology of feminism, but its biggest weakness are no less glaring for the movement of feminism. For example, the radical feminism made the feminism most unpopular among the women of the society. The feminism became a word, and nobody wanted to be called a feminist in that sense. So, and the solution provided by the radical feminist, anti-family, anti-marriage, anti-male, anti-state, they're all anti. See, the point is they're all anti. Radical feminism is anti-male, anti-state, anti-patriarchy, you know, anti-family, anti-marriage. So all these anti-nature of radical feminism doesn't go down well with the social structure, stability, family, because if you think that there should be non-marital relationship between man and female, it doesn't guarantee that there will be no domination of male over female. So, in multiple senses, radical feminism was impractical, unpopular, and this led to revolt against radical feminism in the form of postmodern feminism. So the feminism has many branches, and one of the main reasons why feminism has so many branches is the radical attitude taken by the radical feminists. And many other feminists don't want to be associated with the radical feminist. Then we have ecofeminism. Then we have a socialist feminism. You know. Then we have lesbian feminism. We have psychoanalytical feminism. Other than three main branches of feminism, first wave, second wave, third wave, which is radical second wave, liberal first wave, and postmodern third wave, we have other so many traditions of the feminism, right? So feminism has so many branches that it has become self-defeating. And specifically, the most attractive part of feminism, that is radical, is also the most practically impossible form of feminism. So ultimately, the biggest achievement in feminism has been achieved by liberal or postmodern, but most popular is radical feminism. And this is where another contradiction of feminism lies. पढ़ने में तो इसको मजा आता है, लेकिन जो एक्चुअली सोसाइटी में पॉजिटिव कंट्रीब्यूशन किया है फॉर वुमेन राइट, दैट इज लिबरल मैरी वुllstonecraft और जेएस मिल, और पोस्ट मॉडर्न, दैट इज बेल हुक्स और किम्बरले क्रेनशॉ, और यू कैन से अनीता हिल्स, or other modern feminists, no? Like Caroline Merchant. So all the postmodern feminists. So what is the basic difference between postmodern feminist and the radical feminist? Clearly, that radical feminism believes that women are universal class. All the women have similar kind of experience, similar kind of exploitation. So women universally create a class. This was rejected by the postmodern feminism, and they said that women are having their own unique situation where they have their own lived in experiences. So, women, every woman, black women, Dalit women, Indian women, African women, all the women have a different sense of exploitation and different sense of their urgency, and hence women are not a universal class. Second point, radical feminism says there should be women-led universal movement against patriarchy. On the other hand, postmodernists said there should be fragmentation and decentralization in the gender justice movement in the world. And the women's movement, as radical beliefs, can be led only by the women, but postmodern believe that there is no difference between male and female in launching the pro-women issues. Radical feminism has leaders, has karyakartas, have cadre, has people. In postmodern feminism, it is internet, it is social media, it is personal experience, and most of all, they believe in anti-patriarchy radical, and postmodern's main concern is violence against women. So they say we don't need to go for some universal solution, but we must stop every possible kind of violence against women. So here the postmodern is actually more about the feminization of social political issues. So rather than a grand women's movement, post-structural, post-modern feminism believes that feminization of poverty, feminization of violence, feminization of hunger. So wherever there is a social problem, female will face that problem more, and this is called feminization. So feminization of the violence. Women will be raped in violence, war, conflict first. This is problem. So postmodern is about focusing specifically on those areas of exploitation, coercion, rape, murder, violence where women are at the receiving end. So they are not only about the universal grand theory, but actually about this, right? So radical feminism doesn't believe that state can do any help, because for radical feminist, state is always patriarchal in nature, and so a patriarchal state cannot be expected to play. So in this say, like, state is exploitative. In this sense, radical feminism is very close to Karl Marx, because Marxism, maybe state is exploitative, though they believe in class and they believe in gender. But structural feminism does not believe state to be a gender patriarchal state, but they say the state has to be pressurized through proper organization and movement to make law and create conducive environment in the favor of women. For example, the best uh, uh, example of postmodern feminist movement is Me Too. So hashtag Me Too movement on Twitter, which is X right now, was the perfect example where Me Too had nothing to do with anything else, but so many women coming out and identifying openly and accepting that they were raped or molested by some highly placed person. And this became a trend, and this created so much pressure on the government to restart the investigation in many such cases. And so many people in US, very highly placed people, went to jail because of such investigation launched by the police after that. After that, so the feminism has many branches. Feminism has internal differences. Feminism has no clarity on what constitutes women as a class, and therefore, feminist movement is never a very successful ideology and movement in the global politics. Politics. Reason being the radical approach of the 60s and 70s second wave feminist. Right. So when we go to the advance, not only we need to know in detail liberal feminism, radical feminism, along with the scholars, post, but also how it played a role, how these play a role, a lesbian feminism and ecofeminism, Vandana Siva and many others. So we will read them in lot. So in advanced course, in 2 hours, suppose 2 hours we give to feminism. In those 2 hours, we in the class will try to understand, write all the points, small headings, so that not only your concept is revised, but the way I said in 25-30 minutes basically, or something like that, is that it will actually solve many of your problems and how to understand feminism or any topic for that matter, right? So this was simply a very brief demonstration of what we are supposed to do in PSIR advance, and for that matter, we can take any topic like social contract theory, Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, and we can go on the very advanced conceptual clarity, interlinkages, and framing PYQs for that matter, answering PYQs for that matter through our advanced course. So this was the purpose, so that you can understand that if you join the advanced batch PSIR, what you should expect from this course. Thank you.